Welcome to this Tuesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio this afternoon around 1:20 or so as we are taping to today. We will talk a little bit about Ole Miss's season ticket guidelines that they have put out here in the last 24 hours or so. It came out late yesterday afternoon, so we'll discuss that and some other news going around the sports world, just the world, whatever. We'll see where it goes. Appreciate the people being in our live stream today. Got content at rebelgrove.com. More coming as well. Next media op is tomorrow. So stay locked in. Football season a month and a day away. September 26th is the opening date. So we are getting there, hopefully, as we move a little closer every single day. The podcast is brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West. In Oxford, of course, you can find every Blue Sky location along Highway 55 or I-55 and throughout the state. And when you do that, you can use the Speed Pass Plus app to help you out a little bit. Stay safe. I also have some other perks on the app as well. So you can pick up the Speed Pass Plus app, download it on your smartphone, and move on with your day. They also have the sleeves in Oxford to keep your hands off the gas pumps, trying to keep you as safe as possible. There with the Oxford Exxon and all Blue Sky locations. Again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's right to the bottom line. There's no hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is completely up to you. You can shop your quote around. You can do what I've done, but I recommend that you do. And let's hop into a Clark Ford today. You'll love the service. You will love the product. And all those things. Corey and the people at Clark Ford, they want to be your truck guy. They want to be your car guy, and they'll prove that to you when you make the call, 662-257-1900. Pardon me. Guests will join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. Rafters on the Square is open. Also, Rafters on the Water is open over at the Sardis Marina. That's open Wednesday through Sunday. Opens Wednesday and Thursday at 3:30. Friday through Sunday opens at 11 a.m. Open till 10 a.m. every day. And then Rafters on the Square have been telling you to be a great place, whether you're wanting to watch some NBA playoffs, whether you want to watch Major League Baseball, whether you're just waiting for some college football. It won't be long now if everything continues to go well. We're going to have football here in the next, 20 days or so. And so Rafters would be a great place for you to go. Please remember that they stuck with us through the course of this pandemic, and we would love if you would stick with them when next time you're in Oxford or next time you're out and about in Oxford at Rafters or Rafters on the Water.
Yeah, September 3rd, we talked about it. Southern Miss and South Al. I think Central Arkansas plays somebody as well. So yeah, we're closing in.
Yeah,
less than 10 days away, something like that. I guess 9 days away at this point. I can do that math. That's
Is it only 9 days till September the 3rd?
Today's August 25th, so yeah, that'd be.
How about that?
That'd be 2.5 weeks.
There you go.
Not quite 2 Thursdays from now. So.
Yeah, crazy.
You look very golfer today between the link sole hat and the whole thing. I mean,
I've been out.
You're on the links.
I've been out playing, man, all day. Really, really working on my short game.
Just beat the rain. It did rain a little while in Oxford this morning.
It's okay.
Got a little thing.
Play in the rain. Sometimes you just gotta do it. Carson's got some clubs, but he has left-handed clubs, so it makes it even tougher.
Could you be much worse? I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe you've been doing it the wrong way all this time.
I have tried to swing his club left-handed, and it's very difficult to hit the ball.
Actually, I did find out in the live stream the USM suite situation. Southern Miss is pretty much going 100% on their suites on their attendance. It looks like they've got an area.
How can they do that?
I think they're built differently. At least in some of them, it looks like it's outdoor, indoor, and that allows some different functionality as far as those go. So Ole Miss says mostly, like, from an operational standpoint, all the suites are the same as usual. Just no suite hopping, as we mentioned yesterday. Club areas are a little different, but nonetheless, we'll get into that in a minute.
Okay. I'm glad I've had people asking me about what the suite situation is going to be and all that, and I always tell them I just don't know. And now I'm going to find out.
Well, what was interesting is Ole Miss puts it out yesterday afternoon, and I understand what they're attempting to do. I don't think the plan is overall that bad. I think a couple different ways to do it, and they picked a method. First, single games are available here. They'll still work off some priority. If you're a season ticket holder, you find out on September the 2nd what all of your options are. I guess where you fall in the pool is and when you get to pick your seats and all that kind of stuff. But it is single game pricing. You can buy a month of wave at a time. And what's going on with that is Ole Miss is trying to, in case this thing gets expanded to 50% or in case it goes negative or whatever. Either way, if the amount of people in the stadium changes, that allows them to be flexible and sell at that point that amount of tickets versus trying to lock something in and do the whole season at once. And you got a little bit bigger of a problem when you're trying to either get more money or refund money or doing whatever it is you're trying to do. So Ole Miss is going to do single game pricing. If you get a ticket, the ticket price includes a game ticket, a parking pass, and then whatever the donation would be for that seat. However, CGAs, capital gift agreements, the amount of money you typically have to do to reserve the right to get your tickets, those are extended through the 2025 football season or to the 2025 football season. They're not going to do discounted CGAs per seats for 2020. They're not going to do that. So this is a bulk price. You pay one price and you get whatever you get, including the parking pass. A lot of the sections are $120 a game. Some are $135. Some are $230. Some are $295 as well, and then they go up kind of, or they change from there. You can get Rebel Clubs for $445 if you're at a spot where you're able to do that. Phil Club $310, but nonetheless,
this is per seat.
This is per seat. Yeah, ticket prices are more expensive. Just from a strictly what the ticket costs, this is more expensive.
So students have to pay $50 a ticket.
Yeah, I think that. But I don't know how much season tickets are for students typically. Anyway, though. I have no clue.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like last year, I can only comment on last year because I remember last year I paid $100 for a student pass for Campbell to all Arkansas events, including football.
Okay. I think it's more expensive than that. I don't know that, but I think.
I got to tell you, as a parent, people can get mad at me if you want to. I'd be like $50 for a game. No.
It's $250 for the season.
Yeah, we're all good.
I bet that doesn't include a parking pass for them.
I'd be like, go find a bar somewhere. That feels excessive.
Here's the issues. The people that just bought your base level season tickets, and you need those people as much as you need anybody. I think this can get very expensive for them. I think that's, if you're going to find a negative to this, I think that for a game being more expensive is potentially a problem for the people who are trying to get all five, but they have a certain amount of money budgeted, and when you raise the price like this, it's just hard for that to happen. So you're not getting a lot of brand loyalty there.
Realistically, everybody's not going to get all five, right? At $25,000, the way you're giving some to visitors, you're giving some to students. I mean, not every donor is going to get all 5 games.
Well, and they're not going to get all their tickets either. That's
what I mean.
Too. Yeah.
So it's a one-off year. Everybody's just going to have to deal with it. I mean, I'm not trying to be flippant or whatever, but you only get to go to 3 of the 5 games. Is the world crashing to an end?
No, I think it's interesting from the standpoint of every school, Ole Miss, Alabama, Auburn. We've heard some about what some of their ticket situations are. Balancing, hey, we've got to still put money in the coffers, and we need to try to protect our fans and our season ticket holders and our donors to the best of our abilities. And what do we do in the middle to make that work out on all ways? That's what I find fascinating, because nobody's using the same ticket situation. I mean, everybody's a little different. Everybody's changing a little bit. And Ole Miss is very big into family clusters. You're allowed, they're talking about if you're in the same household, you can kind of sit in an area, then they move them out. Again, I saw Southern Miss's thing. They're not doing that whatsoever. They're not even doing like ticket holder accounts. They're just saying, hey, how many of our tickets you have? Let us know the week up who's going to sit in those, whomever that is.
Gotcha.
I don't think there's a lot of tracing as far as what that actually looks like. So I don't know. It's fine. I read this to Neal. I thought the biggest thing that Ole Miss is doing that does give some loyalty here is they give a lot of options if you don't want to participate. They've got a section here that says football capital gift agreements will be extended through 2025, as we said. Renewals, though, will be based on 2019 seat locations. So for next season, what you had last season is what will matter again. You're not going to lose your priority. You're not going to lose your place. if you do not participate in this 2020 season from a season ticket holder standpoint. I said season ticket holders that do not select single game tickets, either by choice or limitations, they can convert their 2020 purchase to a charitable contribution with triple priority point bonus. They can credit forward to 21 and go ahead and get next year taken care of as far as, they could raise prices, but whatever that amount is toward next season. Or they receive a refund. Again, you'll find out on September 2nd all your options, but that is one area where that's critical. Ole Miss is not – you have a lot of chances there to do whatever it is you need to do for your specific financial situation, and that is where you'll get some loyalty. You'll get some people go, okay, your bigger question here, and I was talking to a couple different people about this last night, Neal, is that – and we've talked about this for years. I mean, I'm not going to try to have the same conversation over and over again. Your worry is the people who pull out and then go, hey, that was kind of nice. From a watching on TV standpoint, staying home standpoint, from doing the weekend chores that we've talked about, doing all those different things. To me, that's what's going to be fascinating is whether it be they can't get into the stadium because it's only 25% capacity or them choosing this year to not do it, whatever. It's opening up that deal where we talk about this. Whatever the reason, when you lose people, you've got to get them back. Even if they're trying to get in, you lose them, you got to get them back. I want to see what, across the country, this isn't just an Ole Miss problem.
No, it's everywhere.
What that looks like next season when they start making the phone calls and go, hey, what are you doing for 2021?
Like, I'll even go one further. I think it's one of the big gambles the Big Ten and the Pac-12 are taking. Assuming that you cannot have football for a year and that all of those people will come back. Because guess what? They won't.
Of course not.
You're going to lose fans to other things. They're going to pick up hobbies or whatever, or decide, you know what? That year of not having USC football was kind of nice. Yeah, sure, you're going to have the rabid fan that is back the moment the gates open. But some will go away. And you're exactly right. There absolutely will be people who've been going to Ole Miss games for years and years and years. And they go to the Grove and they do all of that stuff. And now the Grove's not available. And I guarantee you there are some people out there that are going, thank God.
By the way, I saw this. Did you say this? If not, I was looking at my CGA stuff. 150 for the season for Ole Miss football. So.
Yeah, that's what someone said. I was trying to, which tells me that students, if it's 50 a game, I don't know. Whatever, it doesn't matter. My point is this. You're absolutely going to have fans who go, this was kind of cool. I enjoyed being home. That was more fun and a hell of a lot cheaper. We've done this for years. We've had this conversation.
Better, even still going to Oxford and just not going to the game.
Sure.
There's a large amount of people that go, hey, I'll just go to the bar and I'll go out to dinner and I'll go there and I'll do this. I might even go to the Grove or the Circle or wherever else.
Well, if you do, boy, don't stop for a minute because you might get Gestapo'd.
No, but I mean, even like moving forward. I mean, hey, I can save. Save the season ticket money and just spend that over the course of my weekends every weekend.
Yeah,
I mean, just because you come to town doesn't mean you're going to the stadium.
I mean,
hey, I'm going to convert this to 2021, and it's going to feel like I'm saving money right now. I'll worry about the rest later. I'm going to go buy the 75-inch TV.
Yeah.
We're going to put the sound bar in and the whole deal.
Or, hey, you know what? We're not going to go to the Grove anymore. We'll go to that bar at X. We'll do that instead of spending all the money on setting up a tailgate and fighting the crowd and all that stuff. Oh, I guarantee you it's going to look different in 2021 no matter what. And for the people who are out there probably yelling at me right now, I'm just telling you I'm right. Lots of people out there like deep down, thank God this has been the opportunity I've been waiting on. Okay, here we go. It's why when this stuff happens, it's why I don't envy Keith Carter and all those people over there because there's no winning here. This is just mitigating loss. This is about run differential right now. You're losing the game. I don't mean the football game. I mean the fan game. You can't make everybody happy. People are going to be pissed off. They're going to be mad at you. It's out of your control. State regulations. And some of the fans will disappear.
That's a good point. I really think about that. Without the ability to tailgate for a year, there's a lot of people to go, hey, we did that out of obligation. We did that out of obligation. Did that just because.
I mean, I haven't been to the Grove in 10 years, 11 years. I got to be honest, this can be sacrilegious to a lot of people. It looks miserable from the outside looking in. I do radio segments all the time. People are like, oh, Saturday's in the Grove. And I'm like, look, I get it. It's a beautiful plot of land, and it's become this big tradition and all that stuff. But just looking at it from the outside looking in, it looks hot. It looks overly drunk. It looks really crowded, and it just kind of looks miserable. And I've always wondered, what do you do with your kids for 5 hours in the Grove?
Somebody just sent me a message that Southern Miss is actually doing open seating in its stadium. Like, literally just first come, first serve, sit down.
In their stadium?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I mean, I'm healthy, people.
Is that a COVID cough?
I'll tell you though, like if I cough anywhere right now, like I have to almost feel like I have to explain it to somebody. Like I just cough. Like
if you want to clear some space around you someplace, even with your mask on, just cough a little.
Oh,
everybody scatters.
Look,
JM's mad at me. And he goes, all those scantily clad co-eds. I'm 50 years old. I'm not looking at 19-year-old girls. They come into my house. I've seen them. I don't think like that. You must be significantly younger than me, and congratulations.
Well, no, the Grove is, the older you are, the less appealing. Not tailgating, the Grove is.
Yeah.
Because it's a totally different tailgating experience in other parts of campus or anywhere else other than the Grove. I mean, yeah, the Grove is crowded and busy and all this stuff. I mean, it is. It's. And again, I haven't done it in a while, but I have a hunch. I mean, it's
yeah. I mean, I'm not criticizing it. If that's
cool,
if that's your thing, do it. But I'm just telling you that it will look different in 2021 because
if you've got prime spots where you kind of know some people around you and it's not a high traffic area, you can make it into other parts of the campus and it's pretty cool. But in some of those areas, I mean, you're just constantly. It's just it's an explosion of
I mean, for us, Saturday's a work day, so we've never looked at it that way. I mean, game day's work day.
I have two rules why I don't go to the Grove. Number one, I don't want to sweat like crazy, and two, I don't want to spill anything on me.
Yeah,
those are the two reasons. And I've had those.
Or have people spill it on me.
Right, either way, things being soiled on my clothing.
Yeah, now you got to go the rest of the day smelling like that.
It's so hot.
Yeah.
Even just the walk. You get to the stadium, and you're sweating, and your shirt's soaked through, and you're like, okay, this is miserable, and I've got 5 hours left of doing this before I can get out of this thing. I mean, I honestly think if I had to do it, I would just bring change of clothes and go in the bathroom in the press box and change.
Yeah, but you'd need a shower and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean,
doesn't really work.
Doesn't work at all.
Didn't you get a shower or something at Georgia? Was it the flat tire story?
Yeah.
Was it Georgia?
Georgia. And I happened.
That was Claude?
Yep. I happened to have a change of clothes in my car.
It's been years since we told that story.
Yes. Georgia LSU game in Athens, and I had stayed the night in Atlanta, and I had a blowout on my way to Athens, and it was so hot. The game was in September, I think, and I had to change the tire, and so I was dirty.
Well, you left early enough to get there. Proud of you.
You were. Oh yeah, I was on pace to be there like super early.
Like Paris early.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
3 hours, 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
It's now when we traveled. You day before guy, like hardly ever day of, almost no matter what.
You couldn't get from Mobile to Athens day of for a 2:30 game.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, you could, but it would be miserable. Yeah, it was back when I would drive to Auburn on Friday for the Saturday game.
Because I mean, even from here, from a day of, we only do Nashville, which is stupid, Tuscaloosa, and Starkville day of, typically. I mean, you've done some dumb Baton Rouge ones, but that's...
I've done some crazy, stupid Baton Rouge ones.
I mean, you've been pretty dumb on Baton Rouge.
I left Baton Rouge at 12:30
and drove all the way back. That's when Jeffrey talked all night, right?
No.
Was that not that? Was that you were just on your own?
I was on my own. I got back at 6 a.m.-ish and did not really recall Water Valley. Well, not even Water Valley. From about the turnoff on 7 all the way home. Don't really remember it.
Well, I mean,
the worst part about that is I pulled into the driveway, get out of the car, and just that movement sort of wakes me up. And it took me 2 hours to go to sleep.
I mean, the dumbest that we've said this, the dumbest I've ever done was 2000, I don't know, 9, one of those years, the Vanderbilt Nashville trip. We left that morning for a late game. I don't remember what time that game started. It was you and me and Ryan Moore who was shooting photos for us at that time.
Oh, is this where we went and got something to eat?
And Dylan, I think, was with us for some reason.
Yeah.
And
that was horrible.
I don't remember what time that game was because that plays into the story, but I guess it had to be like a 2:30 game or a 3 o'clock game or
It was
something.
a 3 o'clock game, seems like.
So we covered the game, worked for several hours, and then decided to wait at a TGI Fridays for dinner.
We ate till
eat.
It was midnight by the time we left.
And then drove back from Nashville, Dylan and I, because maybe this is when Jimmy was sick, got in the car and drove to Amory then from Oxford. So he and I didn't pull in until the sun was up. Like literally, it was daylight when he and I got back. I mean, it was really, really stupid. We were behind. I remember being behind somebody that clearly was impaired and drunk on that little cutoff road from Pontotoc to Pontotoc right there or whatever, Pontotoc to Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was pretty dicey there for a bit.
September of 2000, my grandmother died on a Saturday, and I covered Auburn LSU that night. It was the 6:45 ESPN game. And I got out of Jordan-Hare at about a little after midnight and drove all the way to Ruston. I got into Ruston about 8 a.m. I can remember stopping in Vicksburg to get a cup of coffee. It was like, I don't know, 5:45, 6 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
And just thinking, wait a minute, where am I? How did I get here? This is so stupid.
Yeah.
Why am I doing this? Yeah.
Yeah. We will come back and hopefully not continue to tell road stories, but we'll have more for you in a second. First, tell you about Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. Our underwriting and processing is done in Memphis, so you're getting local underwriting and understands your market. It's a leader in condo financing, the float down option, and more. You can find Jason at 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
We're also brought to you by the law firm of Bain, Moss, and Bowen, PLLC, located in historic downtown Corinth. Their firm practices a wide range of law, from DUI defense to car wrecks to representing government entities. Bain, Moss, and Bowen is the only firm in Mississippi made up of a sitting state legislator, former assistant district attorney, and a former circuit judge. Their experience is unmatched in that regard, and you can tap into it by visiting them at 618 East Waldron Street in Corinth or by calling them at 662-287-1620. I'll have my mailbag up tomorrow. It's brought to you by Whitney McNutt of Tommy Morgan Incorporated Realtors, serving you for all your real estate needs in Oxford and Tupelo. Whitney sells condos, land, commercial, and residential family homes, and you can reach her at 662-567-2573 or at her office at 662-842-3844. We are also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB has a commercial checking account now paying 1% interest as long as you keep $10,000 in the account. That comes with fully interactive online banking. They can set up any local business to deposit checks from their office and not have to worry with coming to the bank daily to deposit those checks. To learn more, check out liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. And we're brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com.
Somebody asking, I'll get there in a second. Yeah, I don't think if there's any last one. I tell you the one that I would hate every 2 years, we don't do the exact same thing, was after a baseball series, driving back from Fayetteville when you're done working on Sundays.
Yeah.
Because you get to Little Rock and feel like you're home, and you're nowhere near home. And that last couple hours is a slog. That's a tough one.
You know, it's so funny because I've driven there a lot now, and once I get through Little Rock, I'm fine. I feel like, I'm almost there, and it's no big deal. And on the way back, I never mind the drive until I get to about Little Rock. Little Rock to Memphis is just
40 in general.
It's a deplorable tract of land.
The trucks, just trucks.
Yes,
Where
are you out? Where are you out?
How does it compare to the old pig trail?
Oh, it's much better.
Okay.
That was bad.
like unsafe.
Well, it took forever and lots of, speed traps and red lights. And I mean, now you cut through the mountain and boom, you're pretty much there.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess that's true. You've probably done it 10 times. And
I've done it a bunch.
Yeah.
It's not now. I mean, once you do a drive a number of times and you figure out where to stop and, what's an easy place to get on and off and easy place to get gas or to grab a cup of coffee or whatever, a drive becomes more tolerable.
Is there a couple of hidden gems along the way that you've discovered?
I don't know about hidden gems, but they're easy places to pull off and grab something. It's like a couple of easy places to get to in Conway.
You think that's like a strip club or a restaurant somewhere except Gems, Jims? Hidden gems?
Probably.
Think so?
Yeah, probably.
Sounds like a bootlegger. It's a little convenience store out in the middle of whatever. The wrong business. Somebody said, "Do we remember the first podcast we ever did?" Yeah, I remember where I was set up, and Eric Edholm was our guest of the very first podcast we did together.
Is that right?
That's correct. I've tried to pull it several times, but that old hosting software does not still work. TalkShoe will not allow me to download the file.
What a shame.
Yeah, it had the opening where we couldn't edit it out, where it always made TalkShoe do the little recorded live thing. It sounded like the old dial-up. It would go, TalkShoe, recorded live, and then you'd be able to talk.
And how else would you record it if it weren't live?
He's been on our podcast. When Matthew Stevens covered state, it's what would drive me crazy was because I followed him on Twitter, and every time he got to a game, he would go looking live at wherever he's at. And I'm like, well, as opposed to what?
Yeah.
Like, no offense, I like you, but like, as opposed to what?
As opposed to like being a robot?
Yeah. It's like whatever. But yeah, TalkShoe would do the recording live thing, and you're completely at the ability of the internet, and it was.
So it's funny you mentioned that because I was listening yesterday, and you could tell they're stumbling through how to do this. I took Carson to soccer, dropped him off, and I went to my gym.
Okay.
Because he's practicing for 2 hours. I don't want to sit there that long. And so I go to my gym, and I'm listening to Cubs Tigers. And the game was played in Detroit. And so Pat Hughes, the incredibly talented, soon-to-be Hall of Fame, longtime radio announcer for the Cubs, he was the voice of the Brewers before he was the voice of the Cubs. Just a great radio guy and a traditionalist, a big J journalist, play-by-play guy. And he said, he starts it off with Chicago Cubs baseball is on the air. And he's so used to saying live from Comerica Park in Detroit, it's the Chicago Cubs and the Detroit Tigers. And then he launches into the game and, with, former All-Star Ron Coomer, I'm Pat Hughes, and that's his thing. And so yesterday he starts it off and he says, Chicago Cubs baseball is on the air, and he catches himself saying live because they're not traveling with the team. Oh. They're at Wrigley calling the game off of a bank of monitors.
How big are their monitors? Like, what's their setup look like?
I've seen their setup. It's multiple televisions. They have all the different feeds. They have all the feeds that the Detroit media has.
In their media
area.
Area.
But you don't have the benefit of looking out over the field and calling the game or setting the stage or talking about that. And throughout the broadcast, and I probably listened to 4 innings before I ultimately got him home, repeatedly, Ron Coomer, who's the color guy for the Cubs, would talk about here, and he meant Chicago, and then it's
just complicated.
Yeah, and they've done this for so long where they travel with the team. So they're used to calling the game at Comerica. And now they're at Wrigley, and the game's at Comerica. But the listener, who's like me, I don't have the game in front of me. You are my eyes and ears. I'm listening to a game that's being played at Comerica. And it was just really awkward.
So they do home games, but they're not traveling.
And it's like this for every team.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, because they're trying to minimize,
whatever. The travel party.
The travel party and stuff like that, yeah.
Yes, Okolona is a hidden gem. You're correct. Wonderful. What's the little sign in Okolona say? It's like the little city that does big things or something. Like they've got like a little
yeah.
Yeah, something like that. I still go that way to West Point or Starkville. Like Tupelo is easier, and I should just do Tupelo. But I don't know if it's like nostalgia or what. I still go the old way to like West Point and Starkville.
I go the old way too. I'm not sure I'd even know how to get there through Tupelo.
It saves time. I did
Going
it.
through
I did it the
Tupelo?
last time going to Waverly, coming back, and yeah, it's quicker.
Oh, okay.
It's more pleasant. I mean, you're like
Yeah,
four
yeah,
lanes and
yeah.
not doing the
Boy,
whole whatever
yeah.
and whatever. But yeah, I still go that way a good bit. Anyway, but yeah, no, that was the first podcast. It was.
It's 2011, wasn't it?
I think something like that. Because I think we locked on with Craddock. It was early 2012, I think, because I think Craddock jumped in late 2013. Prior to that, we peddled air filters.
Yeah, I can't remember all
Pro
this
Bull
stuff.
Riding was one of our early sponsors.
Oh, I do remember
They were coming
that.
to Tupelo, and they did like a 6-month preview thing coming to Tupelo. We had the bull rider on that was trying to ride Bushwhacker, the bull that couldn't be rode or was like the Hall of Fame bull or whatever. You don't remember this?
I don't remember that.
Well, Wright Thompson had written a story about it. So Wright had come on the podcast to like talk about the bull or whatever else. Then we had the bull rider on too, maybe the next week. You don't have this. The bull rider's name was, hold on.
I think I've chosen just to block
The
things
bull
out.
rider's name was Billy Robinson, I think. I have a weird mind, okay? I think I'm right. But yeah, that was like 2012-ish, something like that.
Okay.
Because it went daily right after that, or pretty close after that. But it was weekly for a while there. Anyway, okay. Anyway, I don't know. I'm rambling. It's a Tuesday, and we're just hanging out. So, nonetheless,
It's a weird Tuesday.
It is.
Yeah.
See, Messi's telling Barcelona he wants to leave. That would be a bigger deal for Carson or maybe you. I don't really understand much of it, but it's all over the internet right now. So there's
Messi wants to go where?
I don't know. He tells Barcelona he wants to leave.
Huh.
Yeah, trying to leave the club. I assume that's a big deal.
He's a big deal. Carson doesn't talk soccer as much as he used to. He did mention there was some game on the other day that he mentioned that it was a better game than he thought it would be or something like that. But Carson mostly is talking basketball. Last night Javi Baez was up early in the game, and I guess I can't remember what had happened, but he said, "How's Javi doing?" I said, "He's really struggling. He's having a bad year." And he goes, "Well, it's a really weird year." And
Defending
I said,
his guy.
I said, "That's true. Yeah, he got real defensive." And he said, they didn't have a normal preseason, and then they took a long time off, and he's going to be fine. And sure enough, he hit 2 home runs last night, and I was kind of like, shouldn't have said anything.
With most sports fan kids, don't step between them and their favorite player now.
Yeah. Don't tread on Javi Baez.
There's a reverence there that's pretty strong.
And then yesterday, this was the best. So we left here a little after 5, and Game 4 of the Thunder Rocket series was yesterday. And before the game, to this moment, don't really know what happened. But Russell Westbrook who's not played yet in the series because of a quad injury, I think. He was out near midcourt before the start of the game, and he and a couple of Thunder players, including Steven Adams, who's one of Carson's favorites, got into it. A lot of words, appeared to get kind of chippy. I'm sure it's fine. Carson was very conflicted by Russell and Steven Adams yelling at one another. He kept saying, "I'm sure that there's an explanation. I'm sure they were joking." And I'm like, they didn't appear to be joking, bud. I mean, they were like F-bombs and stuff. And well, I just don't understand that. And he kept wanting an explanation, and I was like, "Carson, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. I haven't read it, It was a lot. That was a traumatic thing.
What's his Mount Rushmore of players right now?
Basketball?
Whatever.
Oh, I mean, it's still Russell's way up there at the top. He loves him some Russell Westbrook. He loves Shai Gilgeous-Alexander of the Thunder. He's real into him.
That happened pretty quickly.
Yeah, we've had multiple conversations about how good he can be. I think like any other kid who likes basketball, he's completely in on Luka at this point. Obsessed, fascinated by Luka. Carson really likes Trae Young. He really likes Ja Morant. Jimmy Butler. Carson's pretty partial to Jimmy Butler. He likes Duncan Robinson, the shooting guard for the Heat.
Where'd that come from?
Probably because it's a 6'4" white guy who can shoot. Probably says that's probably the kind of game I could sort of try to emulate.
Okay.
As a, kind of a tall, skinny white kid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, keeping it real. He likes Steven Adams a lot. He likes the Thunder. Thunder's still his team. He likes Jason Tatum with the Celtics. I mean, there's a lot. He loves him some NBA.
Just seeing this, not going to stay on any time at all, but from a baseball standpoint, postseason odds, because it's a 16-team field, your Cubs have a 97.9% chance of making the playoffs. Pretty good. Pretty
What's their record right now?
I have no idea. I have Baseball Reference postseason odds in the National League up. Just saw it come across on Twitter a second ago. Dodgers 99.9, Cubs 97.9, Braves 94.6, Cardinals 93.7, Padres 92.5, Nationals 67, Mets 56, Giants 41, Brewers 40, D-backs 32, Marlins 26, Rockies 22, Phillies 19. The Reds 13.5 after all the preseason buzz.
Yeah, they're 11-16. The Reds are 6.5 games out of first. Cubs are 18-10, 3 up over the Cardinals, who are 10-8.
10-8.
So the Cardinals have played 8. The Cardinals still have to make up 10 games.
There's no way they get that many made up, right?
Well, if you're deciding who wins a division or whatnot, don't you have to try to get as close as you can?
Yeah, but you still go off winning percentage, right?
Yeah, but
do you do winning percentage or games back?
You would have to do.
That's not necessarily the same thing.
No, because the Cardinals are 2 ahead of the Cubs in the loss column.
Yeah, but you could lose
8 behind the Cubs in the win column.
So do the math.
So net of 6 divided by 2 is the 3 games back.
Is that how it works?
I mean, you normally wouldn't have to get that complicated, but that is how it works. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Atlanta is 16-12, a game and a half ahead of the Marlins. The Marlins are a game ahead of Atlanta in the loss column, but 4 games back in the 4 games back in the win column. So 4 minus the 1 is 3, divided by 2 is 1.5. And the Dodgers are 22-8. 4 games ahead of the Padres, who are really pissed off to be in the National League West right now.
You're getting a question in the live stream. Who's going to win between Toronto and Boston?
Ooh. Kind of like Toronto right now. Now, Boston's playing really well. Tatum's playing at an elite level. I'd be curious to know whether they get Gordon Hayward back, and if they do, how healthy he is.
Can you argue that pound for pound, Toronto is one of the top 2 organizations in sports right now?
Yes.
Losing your star, back in it. You want a title.
Phenomenal culture. We've talked about this with Terrence Davis. Terrence Davis could not have landed in a better situation.
Yeah. Coach, GM, everything moving in one direction right now.
A coach who holds him accountable.
Yeah. But I'm just saying in general from an organization standpoint.
Yes. Absolutely. It's a world-class organization.
I mean, it's been on the short list. If you said, hey, what are the best pound-for-pound organizations in sports right now? Had to be on the short list. It's up there.
Who else would be on the list?
I have a hard time figuring out what to do. Like I said, because I'm doing like efficient pound-for-pound. Like, how do you factor in somebody with all the resources in the world like the Dodgers or somebody along those lines? I get they don't have a title and all that stuff.
The Dodgers are clearly doing really well.
They've done everything but win it.
Well, all of their young players.
Yeah.
To me, this is what throws out the well. They just have more money than God. Okay, but their farm system produces just one good player after another. So their evaluation skills are elite.
Like, they're not in the top 5, but, you've got obviously, the Rays and the Twins have done a good job. They're kind of in that tier-ish, or whatever you want to call it, what we're talking about.
Cleveland Indians.
Yeah.
Year after year after year. And they don't have the resources.
The NFL is such a different animal. I don't even really know how to compare it for the most part.
But, if you listen...
You still got to get free agents and different things. I mean...
But if you listen to players, there are clear differences in culture and organization and class of one franchise to another.
Yeah.
players who play for Kansas City, for example, rave about the experience.
With one more title, the Saints would be a top 4 organization. Doing it in a small market.
Yeah.
Doing it there for the length of time, but you got to have the second title if you're – because of some of the other stuff they've had go on, you'd have the second title to be considering it, I think.
Shelby Hall asked who I think is going to win Clippers, Mavs. Porzingis out again tonight.
You still think Clippers win?
Still think the Clippers probably win. I mean, they're the better team. And they have a superstar who's right there in the same realm with Luka and Kawhi Leonard. But Paul George has been awful. That game's going to be good. I mean,
2 out of 3. Hey.
Oh, it's a best-of-3 series now.
You've allowed Cinderella to hang around now. You got to deal with it.
You've allowed Cinderella to hang around, and she's pretty hot right now. I mean, Prince Charming might not let her leave at midnight. He's a superstar. He's 21. Man, can you imagine being that guy?
5 years out of a prime.
He's going to make so much money. Like I watched an interview he did last night with the TNT crew, Ernie Johnson and Kenny Smith and Shaquille O'Neal and Charles Barkley. And he's charismatic. He's funny. By the way, that show just continues to – that show, no matter what you throw at it, social justice stuff, a 4-month layoff, whatever. The chemistry on that show with that foursome is remarkable. It is entertaining. They just I give it to them. They get it. And they might get heavy for a little while, but they'll come off of the heaviness and get silly again.
And they've won everything. I mean, like it's one of those deals where it's not underrated. It's known for what it is.
It's the preeminent postgame show of our time.
Yeah.
There are people that watch the NBA to watch that show.
Which is a hell of a note.
It tells you a lot.
Go to break in a second. Cole Wood says, pound for pound, best college sports team would be Texas Tech basketball. That's interesting. I have a hard time arguing necessarily that.
I would have to do a deep dive on that.
Because getting prospects to Lubbock, Texas in basketball, not the easiest thing in the world. Okay. Now it tells me they've got some things pulling in the same direction there in Lubbock a little bit, but it's a tough place to get them to. That's
I can't imagine.
I mean, that's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
I know it's a bigger city than I give it credit for being, but
he's really good. But still.
Better be. No doubt about that. What also might help you out is the Immune Support Med Packs. They're going on at Tyson Drugs and G&M Pharmacy. Pharmacists develop a combination of vitamins and supplements designed to boost your immune system and lung health. It's 30-day supply of vitamin C, zinc, NAC, probiotic, and vitamin D3, which all work together to boost those things as well as your GI regulation and immune regulation as well. All pharmacists believe that it's the best combination of OTC supplements to prepare your body for dangerous viruses. You can stop by Tyson Drugs in Holly Springs or G&M Pharmacy, or you can give them a call at 662-236-2222.
Podcast also brought to you by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you're thinking about doing something later this fall, something into the holidays, or just blowing it out for next summer, get in touch with John. He's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows him to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits, simply not available to other travelers. What John knows how to do is to give the extra attention that is needed to make a special trip one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. So what you do is you give him a call, give him an email, give him some parameters, give him a budget, and let him give you options. And no, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. We've taped a couple of Mind on My Money podcasts. I'll get those to you here in the next day or so. They're brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust is also home to the Pinnacle Trust 401k advisory services team. Give them a call today, and they can conduct a complimentary, no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. Mention that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the Oxford Exxon Podcast. You'll get 10% off of your first year's fees. And we are brought to you by our friends at Dead Soxy. We'll be taping a soft verbal podcast later in the week. Dead Soxy has a new line of no-shows that are out, 9 new styles to choose from. You can find the style that fits your occasion. Use the promo code Rebel Grove at checkout. Get 30% off the best dress socks you'll ever put on. You can also check out several bundle packs currently on sale. You can use your promo code Rebel Grove at checkout in addition to these already deeply discounted prices. So go to deadsoxy.com and make your day a Soxy one.
Just a little note here, and we talk about it some on the podcast, and place we both like to frequent when pandemics aren't going on and whatnot. St. Leo reopened, and I see just earlier today they're moving their lounge over to the old building. So if you're looking for the appetizers, the cocktails and stuff, in the original location, and then the actual restaurant now in the other location. So a little flip flop there from a St. Leo standpoint, just as we were scrolling. Matt Mazzoni says, "Have y'all ever turned down a would-be sponsor for the show?" Yeah, we have. I mean, we gotta use the product. That'd be good people. I mean, yeah, we've got. I mean, believe it or not, we have standards. There's things that we have.
I mean, I'm loose, but I'm not that loose.
Well, and also, I mean, you're going to have some semblance of, I mean, again, we're not going to double up on the same products and stuff. Because I've had people call me what about this? I'm like, well, you do realize hey, over there they do this. Yeah. That makes no sense. So there's some of that. A
modicum of ethics.
Oh, look. Most of it works. The stuff that doesn't work a lot of times isn't our fault. I mean, and I know it sounds self-serving, but it's true. I mean, I can lead a horse to water, but at some point it's up to the product itself to do it. I mean, I've had that conversation with some sponsors before. They're like, "Well, what about this?" I'm like, "Well, did you have this?" "Well, yeah." "Well, hey, that's all I can do."
Yeah.
If your website doesn't work, I can only do so much. I can't fill the order for you. So it is what it is.
You could have taken the call.
I could
made the sale.
Yeah, I mean, Levi's, sorry, you're out. Yeah, Levi's jeans, no shot. You're no luck. So,
we probably could work something out with Levi's.
That sounds like a tier that maybe
I don't know.
Neal's like, I'll hop in the 550s. Sounds good.
I mean,
no shoot. Fortune 500 companies excluded from our deal. Yeah. But anyway,
don't take money out of my pocket.
I'm scared to even have this conversation because of how polarizing it is. You and I are talking about it a little, I guess yesterday, maybe earlier this morning. I don't know, just in a phone call. Usually it's one of my favorite things over the course of the years. We talked about me loving campaigns, conventions, things. I watched very little of the DNC, and I watched nothing of the RNC last night on night one. Some of it is the online nature of it, probably, or the lack of whatever, the spectacle being different. But I'll tell you, from a podcast standpoint even, it's very frustrating that it's not the typical election where we can talk strategies and campaigns and battlegrounds. Everything is so polarizing where we can, but every single sentence, everybody's so fired up and so pissed off, and they've already made up their mind to such an extent where there is no conversation to be had. It is everything is the best or everything is the worst, and depending on what side you are, that's all there is to it. There is no middle in this stupid thing.
Everyone's so angry. Like last night was a prime example. Nikki Haley, the former governor of South Carolina, the former ambassador to the UN, very likely future presidential candidate. Not saying she's going to win a nomination or anything like that, but I think most people expect her to at least dip her toe in the water in 2024, regardless of what happens this year. Is that fair?
Sure.
So Nikki Haley delivers a speech. I didn't watch all of it. My wife watched all of it. I watched parts of it. Laura really likes Nikki Haley.
Okay.
I was keeping up with the Cubs and Tigers and frankly wanted to watch Schitt's Creek and was kind of,
Does that humor do it for you?
Yeah.
Okay,
That
see,
show-
I can't.
That show's kind of perfect for me.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's a if I'm in a bad mood, I can watch an episode of that and it pretty much cheers me up.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, so she gives a speech, and in her speech, and look, convention speeches are supposed to be uplifting. That's the goal.
You're rallying and you're
rallying the base. You're trying to appeal to this very narrow window
it's
of
a one-way street. It is a very small, not a 4-lane here. Of middle
but there's
ground.
a middle ground that's very small, and you're trying to appeal to them. Most people prefer optimism over pessimism as a general rule. And so in her speech, she references her background. And she says she doesn't consider America to be a racist country. Just 4 years ago, that comment would not lead to a lot of vitriol. But we're in this environment today where everyone is so on edge that one of the very first responses from one of the blue check mark brigade was, easy to say for a white woman, both of her parents are Indian. She's not a white woman.
Her maiden surname is Randhawa.
Yeah.
I was going to botch the pronunciations. I'm not even doing it.
She's absolutely, whether you agree with her politics or not, she's absolutely a success story. She is the American story, whether you agree with her politics or not. Is that fair?
Sure, yeah, all good.
And so when it becomes this attack on her, I'm like, oh, man, guys, we got to. And then you wake up and you see the stuff on the news, and you see LeBron James, and Chris Paul did it yesterday too. And I think people are fatigued. It's August the 25th. I'm fatigued from it. It's worn me out.
Got 2.5 months.
I know. Another 2.5 months of every single thing. I mean, the
fatigue is that no matter what happens, either side, no matter what Biden does or Trump does or whatever, if you're opposition to that party, they can do no right. There's never know what?
Right.
Okay, that was whatever. Like, there is never just the, hey, okay, that's pretty cool, or that was well done, or hey, that speech, that made sense. It's no, but it has to be the worst thing ever. It is the age of hyperbole right now, and that's it.
It's one of the things that you and I talked about this yesterday. I'm really interested in this campaign on one thing. I do not envy Joe Biden in one spot.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's the prohibitive favorite right now to win. But he's got a potential problem. In a debate setting, if he is challenged on his stance on defunding police, it's going to be very difficult in today's media, the way that things are compressed to 280 characters, to explain the nuance of what you mean when you say defund the police. Because what the general public hears when they hear defund the police is we're taking money away from the police. We're taking away the police.
Mm-hmm.
We're stripping the police of their power.
Sure.
So if Joe Biden is asked in a debate setting, what is your stance on police brutality,
police funding, however you want to
defunding police? His opponent's stance, very clear, because Trump's done this over and over and over on Twitter. Everybody's made the jokes. He'll say law and order, and somebody will come back with, a name of another television show. But Trump's positioned himself on this one topic in a way that backs Biden into a funny corner. Because if Biden says, well, look, we can all talk about defunding the police. Obviously, we need to reform police. We need to educate police. We need to whatever. But all of that takes more funding. If he goes that route, he alienates so much of his base. And you see his base on Twitter during the Republican convention is angry. I'm not saying it's not justified or anything like that. I'm before anybody thinks I'm getting political here, I'm not. This is where you and I like to talk about politics. Biden, through really no fault of his own, has put himself in a spot where he can't, I don't know how he navigates this. And then if he says, yeah, hell yeah, rock on, defund the police. Police are out of control and we've got to take these cities back and the police are bad. That middle of the ground, somewhat undecided American that Nikki Haley was talking to on Monday night goes, you know what? I don't like Trump's Twitter account. He kind of rubs me the wrong way. But I'd rather have police than not have police.
In a debate setting, you got 90 seconds.
You got 90 seconds, which is long enough to hang yourself.
Yeah, but not long enough to get into the complexities of the issue at all.
Yeah, and if you're Trump,
you get soundbite, and you got to pick the.
If you're Trump, that's your path to getting him off of his footing, getting him into a stumbling deal, a rambling deal. It's one of the reasons people keep saying they don't think Biden will debate because of his age or his mental status or whatnot. I personally don't think Biden will debate because I don't think he wants to have this conversation. And I don't think mainstream media is going to try to pin him down on this in an interview.
What do we know about debates?
I watched nothing yet. I watched David Muir interview him and Kamala Harris on Sunday night, and it was a collection of softballs for the most part. That's okay. It's kind of what you expect right after a ticket's been named.
Sure.
But at some point in the next, 2.5 months, it's a long way to go to avoid that topic. And then with this situation in Wisconsin that's happened again the other night, where this is back in the news and the riots are happening again and again and again, and they're burning up car dealerships, and people are looking at this, and at some point Joe Biden is going to get asked, what is your stance on this?
He plays it in the middle, right? He doesn't answer either way.
What is that? What is that? What is that answer? I mean, I've literally tried to think about it because I'm like you. I like politics. I listen to
the strategy of them. Yeah.
I listened to Carter versus Ford today, where Ford made the mistake as the vice president of having a meeting with wasn't Kissinger? Forgot who it was. Had a meeting where they were talking about, hey, the Watergate tapes are coming out soon. Nixon can't survive this. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
And, are you ready to become the president? Because you're about to become the president here in a matter of days, frankly. And that meeting ended up, even though Ford made no quid pro quo in that meeting, the fact that he had a one-on-one meeting made it look like he was negotiating for the White House. And it ended up being a divisive thing for him. So I've always been interested in the political science of it all more than the actual politics in this case. And I am interested to see how Biden.
I guess my point is, would you have to go for soundbite where you go, hey, obviously any excessive force is too much, but you go down that line, and then you have 90 seconds. So then you pivot and you go, the police that we do have, we have to be better, blah blah blah. Like I think you almost can.
It's not what his base wants to hear.
But you can play both sides. But
what you just said, though, takes away the passion from his base. Unless you believe that this election is nothing more than a referendum on Donald Trump.
And for the most part, it is.
And if you do believe that and you're Joe Biden, then you need to go hide for 2.5 months. Much like Richard Nixon did in 1968, when the Democratic Party just exploded on itself, basically. Once Robert Kennedy was assassinated, there was no one in that party who was capable of picking up the reins and winning that election. And Nixon just kind of ran the prevent till November and won in a landslide.
Sure. He's got to debate. Come on. I mean,
I think he has to debate. And if I'm the Republicans, I'm making this a major issue.
Oh, I'm forcing it every day.
Well, I'm talking it constantly.
Yeah. Debate.
Let's debate. Let's debate. Let's have 3 debates. Let's set the debates. Let's do the debates. Let's have the debates. If I'm them, I'm a little less anxious to do the vice presidential debate because I'll say this, whether you like Is it Kamala or Kamala?
I think it's Kamala.
Kamala. Whether you like her or not, I do think she's very, very sharp, and I think she will be. I think she will be more than prepared on a debate stage against Pence. I'm still surprised to this day that Trump did not drop Pence from his ticket and add.
There's a rumor for a while.
And add Nikki Haley.
It's fascinating. I mean, in its own way, it's never been more fascinating. But I like the very traditional strategy elections. The sane ones.
Well, and it would be good for our country if we could get back to that place. My opinion. It would be good for our country if it could get back to a place where
we're just talking policy.
And where it's a little more of a group of statesmen. Walter Mondale was a statesman. Ronald Reagan was a charismatic person. But people, even in the Democratic Party, people liked Reagan.
Sure.
George H.W. Bush was a good guy. Bill Clinton was a likable guy. You know what I mean? We've gotten to a place now where we're these two people. I think there's so many people out there that watch what's happening and think, how did we get to this place where these are our choices? I do. I think it routinely.
Are you drinking tea?
Yeah, I had some tea. It was Earl Grey with just a little drop of lemon. I'm sorry, little drop of honey.
Okay, no lemon.
I've bought some lemon tea also. I've really converted from coffee to tea here in the last few weeks.
Okay. Let's see. What do you got left, Mr. McCready?
Oh, from a ad standpoint? Yes. Yeah. Well, I need to tell you about our friends at Blue Delta. Pull this up because I don't want to get the dates wrong. It's easy to get some of the dates wrong, especially since the schedule has changed with football. The folks over at Blue Delta Jeans are excited to announce that the field for the second annual Delta Cup golf tournament at Mossy Oak Golf Club on Friday, October the 16th. Who does Ole Miss play on the 17th now?
I don't know now.
Isn't that funny?
Yeah, I no idea.
Anyway, the golf tournament's on Friday. The Friday part's been filled due to popular demand. Blue Delta Jeans has added a second field for Sunday, October the 18th. Second field offers the same great perks as Friday: all the cart and green fees, food and drink on the course, long distance and closest to the pin competitions, and a brand new pair of Blue Delta Jeans for every golfer. Blue Delta Jeans only has, this is as of the other day, 5 remaining spots for the Sunday round. So if you're interested in participating, email Tyler, Tyler, at bluedeltajeans.com for more information and to get your team signed up. That's bluedeltajeans.com, Tyler at bluedeltajeans.com. Georgia says, why don't we know who Ole Miss plays? I mean, because this ad reader, when we first started it, was back with the original schedule when Ole Miss was scheduled to play.
And to be honest, I have done nothing to memorize the new schedule.
Ole Miss was scheduled to play Florida originally on October the 17th.
They are at Arkansas.
At Arkansas.
So, again, it is what it is for this season. Yeah, I couldn't tell you any dates except I know the order-ish, but I wouldn't know any dates except for the last couple games in the first game.
It's Florida, then at Kentucky,
yep.
Then Alabama at home,
yep.
Then at Arkansas,
yep.
Then Auburn at home.
Yep.
And then I fall off.
I could get from there.
I know it ends with Mississippi State at home and then at LSU.
That's correct.
I'm not sure what the 3 in the middle are.
Vanderbilt, South Carolina, A&M.
Okay. At Vanderbilt, South Carolina here, and then at Texas A&M.
Yeah.
So Ole Miss goes home away the whole way.
Does everybody?
No.
Oh, they don't? Okay. Somebody does have two or whatever?
I think so.
Okay. I didn't know. Yeah, I knew Ole Miss did, so I don't know if that
Yeah.
was pretty much set standard all the way around. I had no clue at that point. But
Georgia has like a month where they're not at home because they have the game in Jacksonville.
Arkansas has something funny too. It feels like in their schedule. Now that you're saying that,
and their game against Texas A&M this year is going to be at A&M
because they're not doing Dallas.
Because they're not doing Dallas, and I know a lot of people are like, "Well, Arkansas should move the next one back to Fayetteville as a stick it," but they won't because Arkansas has a massive Dallas alumni base, including Jerry Jones.
Are they still playing the games in Little Rock? Or they finally stopped?
They play the Missouri game in Little Rock.
That's all, though?
Yeah.
That's an underrated issue for a program is Arkansas having so many fights between their Northwestern Arkansas alumni and donors and their Little Rock donors. I mean, it's just chaos all the time between those two groups. They can't get along on any. I don't know how likely it is at other places or what that compares to, but Arkansas is always dealing with that, having to pander a little bit to Little Rock donors as they go. Sixers GM says they're not looking to trade Simmons or Embiid. They did fire the coach, however.
Boy, who was it? Bruce Bowen this morning on ESPN really rode Joel Embiid.
Yeah, really?
Said you got to if you're going to be the max salary guy and you're going to be the face of a franchise, you've got to act like it. You've got to have more accountability. You can't pin all of this on Brett Brown.
What kind of coach profile would they go for?
Well, the rumor is the Villanova coach, whose name escapes me at this moment. Isn't that terrible? Is that Dixon? No. Jay Wright.
Yeah, Jay Wright.
That's the rumor. You know, some college coaches have had success going to the pro level. He's there in Philly.
I could see that. I mean, it's not.
He's done a great job at Villanova. You know, I don't know enough about him to tell you whether that's a great hire or not. Their deal is this. You have to decide as a franchise, do you think the Simmons-Embiid thing works?
Mm-hmm.
Because if it doesn't, now is the time to get value for one of them.
Yeah, you either have the exact right plan in place or you don't. That's the answer.
I know the Warriors want one of them and have the second pick in the draft to dangle. It's probably not enough to even come close to getting one of them. Certainly not Embiid. But, you know, they're in the East, and the East just kind of keeps getting better and better. And you've got to decide, is your window closing on you? They had to trust the process for so long. And getting swept the way that they did, even though Simmons wasn't available, getting swept the way that they did had to be sobering for the franchise. But speaking of windows, I think Houston will come back and beat Oklahoma City. But if they don't, it's 2-2.
Okay.
But if they don't, man, that's the bitter pill for James Harden to swallow. Not because it's the Thunder and his former team, but it's because you can't get out of this round. It's never going to happen because the West is only going to get better. Memphis is about to be a playoff team. New Orleans is about to be a playoff team. The Lakers are the Lakers. The Clippers are the Clippers. The Suns are getting better. There's this, you know, Utah's good. Denver's good. It's not going to – there's never going to be a clear path.
We talked a pretty good bit of NBA today. If you're just curious, Utah up 3-1. They play at 5:30.
Imagine how good Donovan Mitchell would have been if he hadn't gotten COVID.
He was the second player to kind of be talked
He's
about.
He's getting like 50 a game in this series.
Mavericks Clippers, we mentioned it 2-2.
It's 8 o'clock tonight.
It is 8 o'clock tonight. Tomorrow, Magic Bucks at 3. That's 3-1 Bucks. I mean, they were going to win, but it's just a matter of what it looked like.
Yeah.
Magic won game 1. And
Bucks looked really good yesterday.
Thunder Rockets, you mentioned 2-2. That is 5:30 tomorrow. And then I expect the Lakers to close out the Trailblazers at 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
Yeah. That series is over.
That's 3-1. And
that series is over.
What was the final last night? Because I saw 91-53.
I think it was 135 to 115.
Oh, so come back.
And Damian Lillard hurt his knee.
Okay.
I would think would not play tomorrow night. If I'm Portland, I wave the white flag. Yeah. I'm not getting him hurt. And they're another team that's got to figure out, what do you do from here? Is this enough? Because this is kind of all they can do.
And then the next day is when Celtics and Raptors, as mentioned, will get underway on Thursday. So there's your NBA schedule again. We will have coverage at rebelgrove.com. We've got Zoom tomorrow with players.
Just players.
Yeah, just players tomorrow around noon. So we'll have content to you when we can. Another podcast tomorrow as well. As always, we appreciate you guys hanging out in the live stream, and we will talk to you again tomorrow.